Hi, I'm Bram, and I think Animal Crossing might very well be the most wholesome series of video games in existence. The gameplay experience of Animal Crossing revolves around living in a quiet village or island, getting to know its animal residents, fishing, catching bugs, furnishing your house, and decorating and improving the village or island. It's a very chill experience. So when I tell you that these cutesy, furry villagers can be traded between players for money, that should probably seem a little at odds with the general vibe of the games. And yet that is exactly what many players of Animal Crossing New Horizons do. Granted, it's not actually an intended game mechanic, and it takes a fair bit of coordinating outside of the game to exploit some unintended consequences of the game's systems. If you have a villager on your island that's in high demand, you can pester and annoy them until they decide to leave your island. After that, they'll be in boxes for a bit, packing up their stuff for the move. While the villager is in this state, you can trap them in their house to make sure they don't leave, and take to the internet to sell the villager to the highest bidder, who will then be led onto the island to convince the villager to come to their island. And so, essentially, you're able to buy these villagers. Usually the amount is paid in bells, the in-game currency, but if you're short on those, there are sites that offer bells in exchange for real-world money. And you probably will be short on money because the new villagers that were added for the last game in the series, the ones you can't get from scanning amiibo cards, sell for millions of bells. When I say that this system of villager trafficking is at odds with the game itself, I don't just mean that the real-world implications of this are at odds with the cutesy, family-friendly vibe of the game. That wouldn't be much of an observation. My main point is that commodifying these villagers for profit is directly at odds with the ideological core of this game, which is anarchism. Kind of. Let me explain. A lot of this is better and more thoroughly explained in the Your Island is a Commune series of videos from the channel Nowhere Grotesk, which I highly recommend and will link in the description. Cliff Note version though, the impetus for the original Animal Crossing was the crushing sense of loneliness and lack of community that designer Eguchi Katsuya felt when he had to move to a new city to work at Nintendo. That's why this series of games is all about fitting into and helping to strengthen a small provincial community of people, or animals, I guess. This urge that Katsuya felt, to return to this cultural memory of idyllic village life to escape the isolation, pressure and alienation of a hyper-capitalistic Japan, is not unique to him. In fact, there's a word for it, Furosetto. Its literal translation is hometown or old village, but culturally, the word represents a longing for the more quiet village life and the sense of community that were lost following Japan's rapid industrialization and transition to a capitalist mode of production in the late 19th and early 20th century. In the early 1900s, Japanese anarchists like Kotoko Sushui drew upon the idea of Furosetto, combining it with the ideas of foreign anarchists like Bakunin to create their own Japanese style of anarchism. It is not surprising that such an ideology would take hold in Japan, where there wasn't just a cultural memory, but actual living people with actual memories of a life before capitalism and a more communal, less stressful way of living. But we all know what happened to Japan leading up to the 40s, and unfortunately, Japanese anarchists met with the fate that leftists tend to face under fascist regimes. But of course, this did not completely stamp out anarchism in Japan, and the cultural idea of Furosetto certainly remained. This longing for a communal life grew even stronger during the 90s, when the rapid growth of the Japanese economy screeched to a halt and economic recession followed. This was the climate in which Katsuya conceived of Animal Crossing. So while it may be a bit of a stretch to say that Animal Crossing was created because of anarchism, it certainly fits into a cultural idea that is heavily tied into anarchism. What's more, Animal Crossing New Horizons, the latest game in the series, pretty much plays like an anarchist commune simulator. You might be given the title of resident representative at the start of the game, and there may be an office for resident services, but there isn't truly a hierarchy between you and the other villagers. No, they didn't just release an update that allows you to set the time your villagers have to get up and go to sleep. That didn't happen, shut up. If you want to move to a villager's house, for example, you have to have a discussion with them about it, and come to an agreement. You have the right to exploit the island's natural resources, but so do the other villagers, who you will often see out and about catching bugs or fishing. Everyone can take what they need and nobody owns the island. The only thing the villagers reliably provide to you is a sense of community, if you're willing to put in the effort to get to know them. Attracting villagers doesn't get you anything, and to the chagrin of some players, they don't really contribute to beautifying your island or paying for things like bridges and inclines. They do a little bit, but it's so minor that it's very hard to see them as tools for the player to use. And yeah, there is money on the island and a shop in which you can buy certain commodities, but for the first time in the series, you don't have to do that. The DIY system in the game makes it so that you can completely furnish your home and beautify the island using only what you can find and what other villagers share with you. They also didn't just announce a Black Friday event, nope, shut up. And you can get a home loan to upgrade your tent to an actual house, but for the first time in the series, you don't have to do even that. And if you do, it's a loan that's completely interest-free and you're not even required to pay it off. If Nook is trying to make a profit off your need for housing, he's not doing a very good job at it. And your right to a dwelling is not contingent on being able to pay for it. I could elaborate more on the aspects of New Horizons that make it a kind of anarchist fantasy utopia, but if I did that, I would just entirely be ripping off the aforementioned excellent videos by Nowhere Grotesques. So if you want to hear more, I highly recommend you watch those videos. Now that you know all of that, maybe it's starting to dawn on you how trading villagers for money, real or virtual, is a bit of a betrayal of what this game is about at its core. Animal Crossing was meant to serve as a kind of fantasy of pre-capitalist communal life, a simulated version of the sense of community with your neighbors that was lost with the advent of capitalism. Instead of building their island community, some players are seeing their villagers as something to be commodified, their value determined solely by what they might fetch them in a marketplace. It rejects the entire intended experience behind the game, to the point that it kind of puzzles me that they even enjoy it. It's not so much the villagers themselves that I'm worried about, I'm obviously aware they're just ones and zeros, but it does worry me a bit that capitalism has apparently conditioned a lot of us so effectively that we try to see monetization opportunities in everything, including the cute cat with the glasses from the Animal video game. Viewing these villagers not in terms of what they can do for you, but as your friends and neighbors, might be a good exercise in unshackling our minds from the capitalist mindset that teaches us to view damn near everything as a potential commodity. Speaking of hypocrisy, this video is something I'm trying to commodify as well, so if you could give it some engagement, that would help immensely. That might mean giving it a like, subscribing to my channel, watching another one of my videos, or leaving a comment. Thank you.